Only 14 days until Godzilla III arrives in the United States, President Obama makes a nationwide address concerning what is going on. He states that the monster is heading towards either Hawaii or the West Coast, California, Oregon, or Washington State. So, he issued an advanced evacuation plan for those states. And, as the Commander-in-Chief, he ordered the Battle Carrier Group Task Force 8 to join up with the Japanese 22nd Battle Squadron, who are following the monster. Immediately in Hawaii and on the West Coast, preparations are being made for the advanced evacuations and to face the incoming colossus that is heading their way. However, within the states, there is a bit of chaos. In Seattle, the civilians flood into supermarkets and small grocery stores to get the necessities for going out of their homes in days' time. In Los Angeles, the same applies, except it is a little violent. Some mutants and humans force themselves to get what they need, punching, scratching, clawing, or worse, shooting on some occasions. In Cooptopia, the armed forces are tripling their production to 50%, creating more tanks, aircraft, armed vehicles, and adjusting the ships of the Navy. Mine layers plant explosive depth charges that stretches from the cliffs and beaches to 2 miles offshore. The Cootopian workforce of over 800,000 is incredible within this short period of time. On the outside. The inside is utterly different, and it comes at a cost. Overworking hours, exhausted workers, farmers nearly dropping dead, horrendous working conditions, and not getting paid at the expected amount. This has been going on throughout the 2000s, and it continues today. Under Cootopian law, it is stated in Article 2 that one must fulfill the quota that is set by His Royal Majesty in order to survive and live forever. An interesting yet bold statement, but there is a major drawback to it. If one decides to rebel against the system, it is either A, a prison sentence, or B, the death penalty. When King Robert Bowser announced in 2002 that the kingdom would be a communist monarchy going forward, many had dreaded the possibility of their sovereign becoming a dictator. The United States had the same mindset. After all, many of the old generation in the United States still remember all of the events during the Cold War against the Soviet Union. But some within the kingdom argued that it was a good idea. Making Cootopia a communist monarchy goes with everything that fits the idea of a unified utopian society, with the sense of freedom to whatever the Koopas and Goombas choose to do. While most of it was granted, there were some practices that were not liked by the Cootopians or the Americans. In mid-2005, King Bowser and his army seized and annexed all of Northern California, causing human civilians to flee from the state into Oregon or Nevada. It prompted President George Bush at the time to demand the U.S. Congress for a declaration of war against Cootopia. But his request was rejected when Senate President Dick Cheney stated, "Under any circumstances, we are not losing more American lives and will not mobilize the AMF against the Category 4 Colossus and his army," triggering a second Koopa-American War. The first Koopa-American War happened from 1852 to 1861. The US AMF does have Outpost 85. They originally wanted to build the outpost within the kingdom, but they were restricted to 6 miles away from the border. So, with the news of Godzilla's return and the report from Outpost 85 that stated Bowser is increasing his armed forces tenfold, the United States wonders how they are going to manage both colossi at a time, or worse, at once. Fortunately, and unknown to all parties involved, in San Francisco 2 people are already at work preparing for both scenarios, while also working on little things in life. Eleanor and Anthony sits on the couch of the former's home. They are practicing social skills. The results are interesting. Okay, let's continue. What analogy do you want me to use? I don't know. You wanted this, and I'm telling you I'm not good enough for this. No, I don't want to hear it. You wanted me to help, and I'm giving it to you. Anyway, pretend that I'm a store clerk at Starbucks, and I'm taking your order. Hello, ma'am. What can I get for you? You've got to be kidding me. Come on, just try it. Hellraiser adjusts herself on the couch. From the stairs, Chloe quietly deals down and hears the two carefully. Okay, let's try it. Hello, ma'am, and welcome to Starbucks. What can I get for you? You can start by giving me a frappuccino. Anthony immediately chops her on the forehead with his right hand. What did you do that for? You are acting like a tyrant. Now, let's try this again, but this time, ask me if you can get a frappuccino. Fine. Hi. Can I get a frappuccino? Okay, that's a start. But you need to have confidence when you say something like that. I have plenty of confidence. Well, let's put them to good use. Now, let's try this again, but I want you to look at me when you say it. But, what? You are looking everywhere, which tells me that you're nervous and uncomfortable. You need to be more comfortable, not just around me, but others. Dragonborn indeed brings up an interesting point. When Eleanor is conversating with someone, it's usually short, but long, extended conversations makes her on edge, even eager to bail on the conversation at an opportune time. In this instance, when she is practicing and saying what Tony is telling her to say, she moves her legs side to side, twirls her fingers, and tries to avoid eye contact. But with Anthony, he isn't budging until she does what she is told to do. Okay. Hello, I would like a frap. Anthony's eyes are fixated on her. The pressure is too much. Her face turns beet red and she turns away in embarrassment. God damn it. Oh, come on, you had it. I told you I'm not good at this. Maybe this was a bad idea. Hearing this, Chloe looks down in disappointment and shakes her head. She gets up from kneeling and begins to walk up the stairs. I'm sorry, is that quitter talk that I'm hearing? Chloe stops before she takes the first step. Because the last thing I need is someone giving up when we're just getting started. Anthony reaches over and grabs Eleanor's hands. She turns her body to him and her cheeks blush red. Listen, no matter what, I will make your life better. It's what I promised to do. I know that you're going through a lot of things, but the truth is, you need to help me if I'm helping you. And all you have to do is let me. Can you do that? Hellraiser's eyes widens a little. Hearing him, she realizes that he is being genuine in his actions and his words. He wants to help her. Hearing this for the first time, Chloe is stunned to notice someone who wants to make her sister a better person. She feels a sense of relief. She puts her hand on her forehead. It's just like you, helping those who didn't even ask for it. Just like 19 years ago. Later that night, the two meet again on the old Alameda airfield. This time, instead of fighting each other, it will be about the physical training. First is the combat stance. Anthony, using the ground underneath his feet, creates dummy Koopas and Goombas, 60 in total, 30 for each. This is to simulate a battle or individual duels. Eleanor creates her electric sword and looks at the targets. Each dummy Koopa is made to look like they're charging or firing their crossbows, while the dummy Goombas, with concrete helmets, are made to look like living shields. Hellraiser dashes forward and swings at 3 dummies, taking out one at a time. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Anthony gets behind her and slaps her on the back of the head. Wrong! You swung like a madman, or woman. You were way off balance, and your eyes were not on the target. Do it like a European knight. Yeah, right. Like I'm supposed to hold up my sword and shout at the top of my lungs, "Hail to the church and king whoever the fuck." I'm not a crusader, you know. I know that, but all I'm telling you is that you need to not swing your sword and kill one after another. You need to take out as many as your sword can reach. I think one simple swing can take out at least 5 or 6. Give it a try. Anthony recreates the dummies that she destroyed. Eleanor is angry at him, but he does have a point. Her makeshift weapons should take out more than just one enemy, and the fact that she hadn't tried it before speaks volumes of what he is making her do. Anthony finishes recreating the dummies. He backs away and watches her again. Eleanor looks at the dummies again. She scans across the front row. She puts her sword up like a knight. She dashes to her right and swings her electric sword to her left. As the dust clears, she looks at the result. 7 dummies she took out with one blow. There you go. Now you're getting it. I got to admit, you were right. What's next? Awareness. No matter where you are on the battlefield, no matter how safe you think you are, you have to be aware of your surroundings. The enemy shall and will pop up and attack you from any angle. For example, Nai-Fai-Guo. Flames appear on the man's back. It circles around him like a shield. Anthony leaps forward into the flame and suddenly disappears. Harrington looks confused, but suddenly gets hit in the butt and knocked on the ground by Andersson, who appeared behind her. Look what I just did. You weren't paying attention, and that's what you get. Eleanor quickly jumps back on her feet, angry and all. You motherfucker! Her sentence gets cut off by another bash on the head. And stop letting your anger get the better of you. If you're going to use your anger, do it on the enemy. Don't waste it on those around you who are helping you, especially those who hit you back. Now, let's try this again, and I want you to watch your surroundings. Their training continued until midnight. When Eleanor arrived back home with some bruises, Chloe was waiting for her, but she didn't acknowledge her questions. The next morning, Anthony gives Eleanor a lift to her private college. When they arrive on the campus, everyone looks at them. Seeing Eleanor literally being carried by him is frightening. Anthony lets her down on her feet and she brushes herself off. I wish you didn't do that. Now everyone is going to think that we're an item. Well, we are, aren't we? Eleanor looks at him with an annoyed look on her face. Right. Anyway, make sure you say some things to your classmates. Later. Anthony disappears via Night Fury. Eleanor looks at every student around her. They all stare at her with frightening looks on their faces. She slightly waves at them, though it was awkward. Then she speedwalks into the building. During sociology class, Eleanor is the only one who everyone else didn't pick. So the teacher pairs her with a female student. The two sit down in chairs close to each other. The girl is terrified and Eleanor's anxiety is kicking in. Both do not know what to say, which is eye-catching to everyone else. Holy shit, can you not sit there like a stone-faced statue? Just say something. What the? Are you stalking me? Nope, I'm communicating via telepathy. I just discovered this when I heard Mario and Luigi planning to pull a prank on me. It's a good thing I did too, kick both of their asses without hesitation. Anyhow, just be honest, open yourself up, and just talk to her so that she'll have a sense of confidence. And keep your ego under wraps, will ya? And how the fuck am I supposed to do that? Miss Harrington, she's waiting for you. Huh? Oh, right. I'm Eleanor. How's your day been? It's been fine. How was yours so far? Oh, it's great. No, it isn't. This is a lot more awkward than it has to be. I'm trying my best to become a better person. I don't know if I'm succeeding or not. The partner notices the disappointment in her voice. She looks at the downed Hellraiser. Oh, well, don't give up on it, okay? Everything will work out in the end. Ellie looks up from the floor towards the partner. Looking at her straight in the eyes, she's gaining the sense of confidence. She quickly looks at the teacher, and the teacher herself gives her 2 thumbs up. Ellie looks back at the partner. Thanks. That kind of helped out a little. The partner smiles and nods at her. Eleanor's body freezes and turns to her. Say, what is your name? Maddie. Maddie, huh? Is it short for Madison? Yeah. Actually, I haven't been called that since I was a kid. Jeez, same. I haven't been called Ellie since I was a kid too. Saying them out loud does make us sound like kids, doesn't it? The 2 ladies share a little chuckle. This is eye-opening to everyone in the classroom. The Harrington sisters, with JoJo, decided to visit Harry's restaurant for a friendly hangout, while also being a date night for both Chloe and JoJo. When they arrive in front of the restaurant, the customers standing in line becomes terrified at the sight of Hellraiser. Even foreigners become terrified. Minutes later, when the 3 are eating their food, Eleanor causes a scene, even though earlier, Chloe assured everyone that she wouldn't. Hellraiser shouts at the waiter. Hey, what are you trying to do to me, Phoebe? Her sentence is cut off immediately the moment she sees Andersson peeking through the door, gesturing her to stop. Realizing her mistake, her cheeks blush and she sits back down. Excuse me, I asked for medium well. This is medium rare. Sure, I'll get another steak for you, ma'am. The waiter quickly picks up the plate of steak and rushes to the kitchen. Eleanor, embarrassed, looks around her. Sorry, everyone. Won't have it again. As the waiter comes through the door, Anthony grabs the steak, throws it back on the grill, waits a few seconds, and puts it back on the plate. All right, Mike, get to it. Mike walks back out into the dining room and delivers the plate back to Eleanor. She takes a bite of the steak and nods her head in approval. Sorry, Irvin was the one who gave you medium rare. Don't worry, I gave her a little shit for it. Also, you might want to apologize to Mike, the waiter. Why? Because you nearly threatened his life. Let this be your first relapse. She gives out a light sigh and looks at Mike. Hey, Mike, is it? Sorry about the trouble. Oh, no, it's alright, Miss Hellraiser. Please, enjoy. As the man walks away from the table and Eleanor continues to eat, Chloe and JoJo look on in confusion. They have never seen her this apologetic like this. But Chloe does not have a problem with this. Back on the old airfield, Anthony uses his newly discovered telepathy and telekinesis to lift random rocks and concrete 100 feet in the air. I'm starting to like this. Anyway, I want you to use your electro spear to hit each one of these targets. Sounds easy enough. Yeah, it sounds easy, yet you're going to make it hard. Oh, how? You're going to throw multiple spears at each one of these targets, which, if you haven't noticed, wastes a lot of mana. Well, what am I supposed to do? Fire one spear, then let its bolts connect to another target. Electricity is supposed to do that. Give it a try. Eleanor looks at the rocks and concrete in the air. Electricity generates in her right fingers and thumb. She aims by sticking her left thumb out sideways and faces at one of the targets. She takes a step back and throws the spear at one rock. The rock shatters, then the bolts quickly travel to 2 more targets, then 5 more. Then the rest follows suit. One by one single spear destroys all of the targets in less than 5 seconds. The bolt, still in motion, once all of the targets are destroyed, zips towards Anthony, but he catches it with his right hand. Wait, I didn't mean to do that. It just traveled on its own. A burst of laughter interrupts her. Are you kidding me? You did great. Hearing that particular tone in his voice, Eleanor sighs with relief. Now, here's something that you might find useful. Have you ever clapped with your hands full of bolts? No? Why would I? Check this out. With his right hand still full of bolts, Andersson claps his hands hard. A ball of electricity grows rapidly, so fast that Eleanor is caught off guard and thrown off of her feet. The bolts form a massive dome that reaches up to 50 meters. It is noticeable from a distance, even getting the attention of the Coast Guard. The dome disappears after 10 seconds. Eleanor, flung on her back about 75 meters, lays on the ground staring into the night sky. Dragonborn kneels down and gets into view. That would be nice as an EMP. Alright, we're done for today. Good night. Anthony uses Night Fury and disappears. Way to show it to me, asshole. As the Harrington sisters exit their home, Chloe waves to their neighbor, Miss Robinson. Eleanor, suddenly, says hello to her as well, surprising her sister. In sociology, she continues her conversation to Madison about each other's lives, even telling jokes and making each other laugh. An amazing sight to see for the students and teacher. The two even conversate in the hallways. It sends a message to her colleagues that she's not as tense as she used to be. That night, Anthony and Eleanor engage in combat training. Every punch is dodged or reflected. She looks at her surroundings, dodging more attacks. By 9:50 p.m., they are finished. Anthony rushes to her and gives her a big hug. She did not expect it, and she's a bit embarrassed. I'm so proud of you. But we still have a long way to go. Can you handle it? Eleanor smiles and finally hugs him fully. Yeah, I can manage. You know, you didn't have to do this, but I'm glad you did. Thank you. The water splits in his wake. Like a crocodile, Godzilla swims at the speed of 32 knots. Following close behind him is the JAMF's 22nd Battle Squadron, the battle carriers Hoshi Shirogane and Jinsensha, and the destroyers Kongo and Kirishima, joined by the destroyers Murasame, Harusame, Kirusame, Ariake, Yamaguri, Yuguri, and Amaguri. But they are not alone. Earlier today, they were joined by Task Force 8 of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, the battle carriers USS Missouri and Wisconsin, the cruisers USS Princeton, Cape St. George, and Bunker Hill, the destroyers USS Russell, Fitzgerald, Statham, O'Kane, Shoup, Sterrett, Stockdale, and Spruance, the amphibious assault ships USS Exits and Boxer, and the fast attack submarine USS Hawaii. Altogether, the total number of ships is 27. They have combined into one and form the Japanese-American Fleet Task Force G. Despite this massive bilingual fleet, however, the captains and admirals agreed that no shell, missile, bullet, or torpedo should be fired from any ship. They did not want to lose lives in a naval battle, especially in the Pacific. In the planning room on board Hoshi Shirogane, Admirals Jotaro Shindo, Toshio Nakajima, Patrick Walsh, and Jonathan Greenard discuss why Godzilla is heading for the United States. Sagusa is also in the room as well, but she is keeping quiet as the men talk. Shindo and Nakajima has a theory on why the kaiju is heading towards the country. King Bowser? Why him? He's the only kaiju active in America. It would make sense, right? And no other kaiju are calling him out since all of them are still dormant, so it has to be him. Admiral Greener thinks for a moment. Well, we have been receiving reports from Outpost 85 that said Bowser's army has been boosting its capabilities in the past 3 days, but we got a report yesterday that said that those forces seems to go to the southern border of Kutopia, rather than the coast. And Outpost 85 did manage to contact one of his representatives, and they said that Bowser did not call him out and is actually gearing up for his arrival. Take it with a grain of salt. Wait, he didn't call him out? If he did, we would have known about it. Both Japanese admirals leans back in their chairs and begins to think. Sugusa thinks as well. If Bowser is too busy with prepping for Godzilla's arrival, then why is the latter heading for the US in the first place? This is very confusing for the men and woman in the room. Suddenly, a thought enters Sugusa's mind. She walks up beside Shindo. Excuse me, but this may be a theory. Instead of King Koopa, what if there was another kaiju not calling him out, but its presence became a threat to him? Her English is surprisingly good despite the light accent. That is a possibility, but what could it be? The better question is, who is the one person that hasn't been seen in 10 years? Wait, Honda? Honda? Oh shit, Genjiro Honda! If he's back, then that means Gamera has awakened from dormancy! That one realization shocks all 5 individuals. As if the situation couldn't get any worse, in comes this. I thought Honda was dead. He's been lying low in San Francisco this whole time. Son of a bitch, I thought we were done with this. Frustrations are running high. Since the presence of Gamera is enough to get the attention of Godzilla, then little do they know, it also got the attention of the other monster. Inside one of the hangars in the naval base, the ships of Bowser's fleet are being loaded with Koopa troops, Goombas, ammunition, and supplies. The Kutopian army is around 1 million strong, but this time, the army is deploying 4 divisions and 24 aircraft. Of course, with them will be the 3 King Henry-class battle carriers, KBS King Henry, Tammy, and Queen Vanessa. The King Henry class is named after the kingdom's first sovereign. The ships are equipped with 15-inch guns and 2 twin turrets and 250 meters in length. What sets them apart from any other battle carrier in the world is that these designs, no matter the type and size, are modeled after the Hope Unto Dawn and an old pirate ship, without the wood. Instead of turbine engines, it is propellers that lift the ships. Same goes to the 8 destroyers, which are escorting the capital ships. King Bowser enters the hangar with Kamek and his royal guards armed with crossbows. The Koopas salute their king as he passes by them. Bowser calls out to everyone to get aboard the ships while he enters his flagship, King Henry. In less than 30 seconds, no one was outside of the ships. The engines roar. The ships lift from their launch pads. Then they exit the hangars into the night sky. The ships make up the 10th Battle Division, and they are on their way south. Flying over Kutropolis, the people on the ground cheer and wish their warriors the best of luck. Stepping onto the bow of King Henry, Bowser crosses his arms and smiles. Finally, after 10 years, I found you. And what an amazing test. To fight you and the Gamera as a warm-up for Raygon III, not to mention taking more territory in the process? Be ready, Dovahkiin. We're coming. Next time, the Battle of Oakland City.